Please don't get any closer. Oh no. Hello and welcome back to Ant Holleufer. Today we're once again doing this little video thing. I'm still experimenting a little bit. But today we're gonna look at the Messor Barbarus colony. This is now episode 8. And I thought that the ants were kind of moving very slowly. And I thought that might be because they didn't really get enough sugar. So I tried giving them some honey. They didn't really react to it that well. I tried giving them some apples. They didn't really react to it that well. So I thought, I was down in the grocery store and I saw some strawberries and I thought, you know, maybe the ants like some strawberries. So I decided to give them some strawberries. So I put down the strawberry around an hour ago and the ants didn't really seem like they cared. And then I came back into the ant room and discovered 4 workers going around sipping or eating at the strawberry. And this is just a short time lapse of how the ants walk around eating the strawberry. I don't know how much sugar there is in these strawberries. I tried eating one and it was not like very sweet, it was a little bit sour. But I guess that's just how it is with these strawberries. So the strawberry thing worked out pretty okay, but I'm curious, what do you guys use for sugar for your Messor Barbarus colony? I've often given honey to the Camponotus Vegas colony and sugar water to the Camponotus Vegas colony, and they react very grateful. They like it, of course. But the Messor colony is very different. So I'm curious, what do you give your Messor Barbarus colony for sugar? So please leave that in the comments below. If you have a Messor Barbarus colony, if you don't, it's kind of hard, of course. But let's move on to the protein part. Because I've given my Messor Barbarus colony mealworms and mealworm larvae and beetles from mealworms for the past, I don't know, year almost. And they seem like they have enjoyed it a lot. And then I gave my Camponotus Vegas colony a spider the other day that I found in the room. And they reacted so different because they could actually take this spider and take it home to the nest and eat it there. So I thought, hey, maybe I should try to buy some flies, because I know a lot of people give ants flies for food because it's very cheap and it's simple for the ants to kill and take home. So I decided that I would buy some flightless fly, and that's because their wings are kind of bent so they can't fly and they just jump around. So these are the flies. They are very chaotic. I just bought them before this video and I haven't put them in the fridge yet. Normally you do that so they get a little bit more calm. But now I'm feeling with just how do I put this down? I mean, these flies will go completely crazy if I try to pour them out. So how will I do it? Another thing I'm a bit scared of is how will the ants react to this kind of food, because the fly is about the same size as the ant. But I'm already now kind of seeing a scenario where a fly comes and walks directly into the test tube, and that would just spray so much chaos, and I seriously don't hope that happened. And here comes the flies. As you see, there's an ant right beside the flies, but instead of walking towards it, it just walks away. So this is the ant I was talking about, and it's kind of scared of the fly, and the fly actually, it looks like the fly is actually chasing the ant. Oh wait, it just went right past it, and the ant hit another fly and that got a bit scared. But it don't really seem aggressive. I don't know if it's a bit curious, but I don't know if it's because she's pretty overfed or something, because they did get a mealworm a few days ago. And here's just a close-up of this fly. I've never tried these before, and it was kind of hard in real life to see how the fly looked like. But as you also see, this fly was very close to the test tube. And also this fly. I'm starting to get a bit worried that a fly actually might enter the test tube, and also this fly right here. I mean, around 2 centimeters from getting into this chaos, and that seriously wouldn't be good. I can't even imagine what would happen, but we might get to see it because this is too close for comfort. And then I saw this fly covered up in some of the cotton wool that the ants have dug out of their test tube, almost inside of the test tube. I mean, that can't get much closer. But the ants didn't really seem interested in the flies. I mean, this ant right here walks directly over to fly and picks up a seed. And this fly is just staring at it, and it doesn't even look like the ant really knows there's a fly looking at it. So I don't know if it's because they haven't really seen live food or they just aren't very aggressive. So over at the test tube, there's been a little bit of these flies flying around, and they have now sent out a guard to kind of guard the test tube. I mean, I guess it's because of this fly right here keeps standing on top of the test tube and kind of making it vibrate. And then we have another very close encounter. Actually, the fly touches the ants and almost runs after it again. So I don't know if these flies are kind of trying to attack the ants or what, but neither mind, the ant seemed a bit scared, but not really anything. So here we have a worker that just came out of the nest, so it haven't seen all of these flies yet. And that goes completely crazy. Runs after it, kind of try to attack it, or maybe it's scared, I can't see. And another attack. And I don't know if that what this fly is doing. I mean, this ant is she's kind of scared, and it more looks like the fly is attacking the worker more than she is, and now it almost looks like she's kind of trying to run away. When I saw this, I got very scared, because this was when I started feeling that this wasn't a good idea. The ants weren't aggressive, they were scared. It wasn't the flies that were the prey, it was the ants. I haven't done that much research, so I didn't know if flies could eat ants or anything. So I started to be a little bit scared. And when I turned around over to the test tube, I think a fly had maybe been inside, because all of the workers were kind of rambling around like some chaos has happened. I don't know if it was a worker that got spooked and ran inside or what, but it seemed like the ants were getting calm again. But still only fly running after ant and not the opposite really. So I tried to turn on my light to get a bit more focus point, and this fly was just so close to the test tube, and the ants didn't care at all. I mean, look at this. How? Okay, this one worker got a little bit, and the other worker, okay, now they started to get a little bit curious. And another worker encounter, and still a little bit the worker gets a little bit upset, but nothing really. I didn't see this coming. I thought the workers would be aggressive and running after them, but they just run around them, like walking around them, getting scared every time a fly hits them by mistake. But now I see there's at least 5 workers walking around, so they clearly know about what is happening. But I don't know how they are reacting, because they're just kind of walking around. And then we have another fly that's actually entering the test tube and going over to the workers. The workers of course get spooked. And the fly walks over to the workers again, and the fly just keeps coming closer to the cotton while all the workers are stashed at. Okay, so the workers clearly tried to bite the fly, and all hell broke loose. You can just see the fly is actually don't really care. But inside the tube, the workers got very spooked. You can also see they're walking around with open mouth, because they're kind of in danger mode. So since the ants didn't really react that well to the flies, they kind of got scared. Instead of attacking them, I decided, I'm gonna kill one fly and just see how they react to a dead fly. Because after all, I did give the Camponotus vegas a dead spider, not a live spider. And instead of the ants kind of being chased around, they could now gain control. So this is the first reaction of a worker kind of smelling the fly. And I don't know if this worker has had another fly encounter, because she seemed a little bit spooked and scared about the fly. Going over to check it once again. Oh, maybe eating a little bit, taking a big bite. No, it's still a bit scary. I don't know if it's just because it's the first time she meets a fly, or it's the first time she meets a meal. But she decides to go into the test tube. And another worker also comes to check out the fly. But no, definitely not something for her. So again, I'm messing a little bit with the lighting, trying to get the best focus. And then I realized the smallest fly was eating the big fly. Don't know why. And almost 5 minutes pass where I just literally just stare at the ants, before this worker just comes over and grabs a hold of the fly and says, "You're coming home with me," and just starts dragging it inside. While inside of the test tube, the other workers are just kind of staring at this one worker that's just trying to come in with this huge feast, but they are not really seeming to help them. So halfway into the tube, and the other workers still haven't approached and starting to help. But here we have maybe the first approach. No, not yet. And the other worker attacks. And what about the third worker? Just got a little bit confused. But oh, and there the third worker also recognized that there was an animal inside. And they just simply started to eat this fly. And what is that? There's a fly. Oh, the small fly has entered the test tube. The one worker are aware of it, but they don't really seem that stressed about it. Don't really even seem like they know this really. Oh, there we go, a contact. So now it's time for to run away. No, you're going the wrong way, fly. Oh, no. You're now between the workers and the cotton where all of the other ants are housed. And now we're at the first attack. The major is trying to attack. All the small workers are just biting. The major is going crazy. It seems like it doesn't know what to do. One worker tried to drag the fly out of the test tube, while the other workers just keeps biting it. I don't know how to commentate on this, so I'm just gonna leave it be with some intense music. So what really amazed me is that only 2 workers is really working on trying to kill this fly, and the major is just kind of doesn't really care. The major haven't really tried to take it down yet. I know they have big muscles in their head, and there we go, an attack from the major, and no, another attack from the major maybe. Still a miss. I mean, this major is very clearly not suited for fights. Still no attacks from the major, and there we go, finally a bite. No, not a good bite enough. So they finally started to get control of the small fly, and the larger fly was now getting pulled a little bit closer to the cotton wool. So now both flies were inside of my camera, and as you see, the small fly is still alive. But the workers are starting to gain control over the fly and is starting to kill the fly for real. So a few minutes later it looked like this. All the workers were just all around the fly. I mean, I'm not sure where the fly is. I can just see all the workers just trying to eat the fly. And now I would like to conclude that this fly has officially died as well as the first fly. So that's why you don't go into a test tube filled up with workers, because that might not end too good. This whole experience took about 3 to 4 minutes before the small fly died. Here's just a time lapse of the ants eating the bigger fly. So in the outworld there were now only 4 flies remaining. Originally there was 7, 6 big flies and 1 small, but as you just saw, the small one entered the test tube, and I killed 2 of the 6 large flies to give the Messor colony something to eat. So another time lapse of how they're just completely destroying this first big fly and just demolishing it. So as I first thought, the ants didn't react that well to the flies, and they got very scared actually and very stressed after the 2 flies entered the test tube. And this whole thing it was a win in a fail, because they loved the flies, but I shouldn't have given them alive. So next time I will pre-kill them and then give it to the ants, because they really seemed like it was good for them that they could just carry it home to the nest. I did a few days later give a dead fly up here into the nest, and they didn't really react to that well. so I just keep giving it to the outwell instead, because I don't know why they are not really eating it up at the nest. But talking about the nest, it's time for a little update. So up at the main nest, there were not really any workers out before I started recording, but as you see, the light kind of spooked them, and inside of the nest you see the queen here, and only a few workers. They seem like they still haven't begun digging for real. I mean, they began a little bit last episode, but it's still a very minimal. I can't even see if they have done anything more than from last episode, but it seems like the whole colony is starting to move down into the test tube, which I have nothing against. You see here all the ants. There's also a bit of trash. I haven't cleaned up the flies yet, but it seems like the ants are still kind of recovering. After I gave them the strawberry, they were a lot more energetic, the workers at least, but now it seems like the colony has kind of slowed down a little bit again. Inside of the tubing, I have cut it a little bit shorter because somebody recommended it, and it has really helped with the trash. I mean, I poured out half of the trash, and then the ants have kind of taken off the rest of the trash that were in the tube. So it's a little bit shorter, not much, but a little bit shorter. And inside of the test tube, you see there's not that much action. And actually there's a dead worker inside, and another dead worker inside, and then two alive workers. But it still seems like the ants can't really figure out how to put the trash. As you see, here's another worker that's dead, and a fly and two other flies. It really seems like the ants can't really handle the death of workers. As far as I'm concerned, I still think these workers are just died of old age. But inside of the nest you can see we have one pupae and two larvae, and hopefully some more small eggs in there, and it just really warms my heart, because I'm still doubting this colony. They still seem kind of weird. But as you see, going a little bit away from the eggs, you can also see the seeds they are eating right now. So this is what the majors are for. I don't know why the major isn't helping right now, but the major is for kind of breaking up these seeds, and then they will go into the smaller workers. Actually, that's probably why there isn't a major. They have already broken it up. But then it comes into the smaller workers, and then they start eating it and feasting, and that kind of works as a second protein. So as you can see, we still have a lot of dead ants. This week I've taken 7 dead ants out of the outworld, and that's really a big number comparison to we have 1 pupae and 2 larvae, and I'm still very much in doubt of this colony. But instead of updating you every week and every other week about how it goes, I'll be waiting a bit till there's a real update with the Messor colony, because as I said in the clip before, I'm still not sure that they will survive. This rate of dying versus new pupae hatching is just 100 to 0. We have 1 pupae that's still white, not even brownish. I can't really see the eggs anywhere. I see these larvae that I also showed before, but I still don't see any eggs. So maybe they're inside of the test tube, maybe they're somewhere else, I don't know. It's just kind of a waiting period. I'll keep feeding them and keep feeding the sugar and honey. And remember what I said earlier in the video, if you have any sugar things that you give your Messor Barbarus colony, please leave it in the comments below, so I can check that out to see if that helps. Sadly, a cool video, but still not anything positive to update really. I mean, there's some larvae and 1 pupae, but it still seems like it's an uphill road for the Messor colony, but that's how it is. They are still in recovery after this whole mold outbreak. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and a comment if you want. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!